Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden. In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 15 best engines, most legendary, most iconic engines ever produced. In my opinion, the 15 absolute legends, absolute bests, okay? There's obviously debate about like what is the best. Like for example, there's no like Ferrari or Lamborghini engines on this list, even though, you know, maybe there should be, because obviously they are very iconic with their V12s and stuff like that. But yeah, these are, in my opinion, the top 15 best engines ever created. Media of the day is Spider-Man, No Way Home. All the Spider-Man movies are incredible, but No Way Home is my favorite of them. It is so, it's like sad almost. You almost want to like tear up a little bit watching the movie. It's kind of sad, but it's really good storytelling. Love this movie. Spider-Man movies are incredible. Tom Holland is an incredible actor. Go watch it if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's right into it with the top 15 best engines ever created. And also, it's worth mentioning that I've been uploading only like one day per week for the past couple of weeks now. Plain and simple, the reason why is because I have two other channels and they've been doing really good, and I've been trying to just like really, like, obviously this channel is really well established already. You guys can tell that based on the subscriber count, obviously, and I'm trying to get those channels to a point where they're established. So I'm putting a lot of effort and work and time into those channels, which, I mean, I hope you guys understand. If you don't, then I apologize, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, we're just doing one video per week right now until we get it all situated. All right, but without further ado, right into it, the top 15 best engines ever created. And coming in at 15th place, still incredible, just because it's at 15th place and like dead last on today's list, obviously it still made the list, so it's still absolutely legendary. The 1UZ-FE. The 1UZ-FE is in cars like the SC400, the LS400, GS400s. I believe when they turned to the GS430s, they became 2UZs. I don't really remember exactly, but nonetheless, these cars are legendary. There's like multiple reasons why cars, in my opinion, are the best or the legendary. And some of them are legendary and the best because they just handle power. And other ones are so legendary and incredible because they just handle a beating. And that is the 1UZ-FE. The 1UZ-FE, it's not a surprise at all to see these cars with over 300,000 miles still going perfectly strong. The only thing that's going to kill an LS400, the only thing that's going to kill an SC400, GS400 is rust. That is it, because the motor and the transmission are both insanely reliable. These are motors that have reached, I'm not kidding when I say this, 1 million miles. If that doesn't belong in the top 15 best engines in the world, I don't know what does. And coming in at 14th place, a motor that I'm not myself super, what's the word I'm looking for? Known, I guess. I don't know it that well. The OM617 Mercedes diesel motor. Again, this is a motor that I'm not super well versed, I guess is the best way of putting it, in, but nonetheless, when I was looking up what are some of the best motors of all time, this did show up, and I do know that Mercedes diesel motors are absolutely just legendary, absolutely incredible. I do know that 100%, and the OM617 is apparently the best of those. They come in the W123 chassis, the W116s, the W126s, and apparently even came in G-Wagons, which is obviously pretty cool. The early G-Wagons were such cool cars. Nowadays, they're just like clout machines. Back in the day, though, the early G-Wagons used to be like off-road monsters. So cool. I actually like to own one. Not the new ones, though. They're just kind of mid. And coming in at 13th place, this one's just, it's just iconic. It truly is. It's truly just iconic. The EA888-888 Volkswagen motor. This is a motor that's seen in a lot of Volkswagen models, but also anything that is owned by Volkswagen, you will see this car in it. If you live overseas, you will see it in Seats, Skodas, Cupras. You'll see it in all those cars. We don't have those obviously over here, the big US of A's, but you'll see them over there. They're in Volkswagens, obviously the Golf GTIs, the Golf R's, Jetta GLIs, things like that. You'll see this motor in it all the time. The Audi motors, they're in A3s, S3s, A4s, S4s, A5s, S5s. They're in all kinds of cars in Audi as well, but they're also even seen in base model like Porsches, like Porsche Macans and Cayennes and things like that. You'll even see this motor in that car, and the reason why is because they're just so damn reliable. They don't stop. On top of that, they're one of the only motors that are not only reliable, but they're easy to maintain. They're easy to work on. They can actually build some power as well. They're lightweight. They're good on gas. Like, there's just no downside to an EA888. And coming in at 12th place, yeah, obviously there were going to be some 90s Japanese motors on today's list. It's the Honda B series. No matter which Honda B series you're talking about, B18, B16, 5 million. It doesn't matter. If it's a B series, it's an incredible motor. They're just so timeless, man. Oh, I say timeless, but I don't even think they make them anymore, which is actually heartbreaking, by the way. They do still make K series, but they don't make the B series. Nonetheless, I think the B series, it's an incredible motor. Very reliable, very good at building power. I have a B series in my Integra, and I love that motor. It's 1,500 miles past due for an oil change because the exhaust is hanging off, and so I haven't been able to do the oil change on it yet, and it's still going strong. It's a great motor. I love the B series, man. But I will say this, and the reason why the B series is all the way at 12th place and not higher is because I do think the K series is kind of just better in every way. That might be a hot take. Probably is. I'm probably going to make a lot of Honda boys mad when I say that, but I do think it is. 11th place. Talk about a motor that just was peak after peak after peak. The 4G63T by Mitsubishi, obviously. The 4G63 was a motor in the Evos, but they even put it in other cars. They put it in the Eclipse GSX. I think they put it in the FTO, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I'm sure they put it in other cars too that I'm just forgetting right now. Nonetheless, the 4G63 is a turbo 4-banger by Mitsubishi. That's not only reliable, but its main selling point is that it's insane at building power. For a 4-cylinder, it's got to be one of the best motors out there for building power. It really does. At this point, it has some reliability issues just because it's older. It's also why I'm not putting it any higher. But in terms of power building alone, the 4G63 was incredible. And they only improved on it over and over again. It was incredible when it first came out, with the first Evo. But they just improved on it over and over and over again, to the point where the Evo 9's 4G63 was just, it was untouchable. All right, I got to be honest with y'all, fellas. Coming in at the wonderful number 10 spot is a motor that I myself am not too... Dude, I cannot think of the word, and it's driving me nuts. Too, knowledgeable, I guess, too educated on the Barra motors. But I am putting it here because I know the Barra motors, the Ford Barra motor, is legendary in Australia. The Australians absolutely love these. They're in the Ford Falcons over there, and any other Ford Utes or whatever it may be over there. They put the Barras in there. It's an inline 6x4 that apparently is just damn near indestructible, really good at building power, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Again, I don't know too much about it myself because I am an American, and I didn't really teach myself too much about Australian vehicles, but I do know that they're legendary. I do know that they belong on the top 15 best engines ever created. I just don't know much else about them. All right, and coming in at 9th place is the first motor on this list where it does have a slight drawback, but the upsides I feel like are just so much better. The N54, BMW's N54 straight six. BMW obviously is pretty much known for the fact that they build straight sixes. They love putting straight sixes in every one of their cars. And at that point, during the 2000s, late 2000s, when the straight six when the N54, my bad, came out, and the E92s, E90s, all that stuff, they were getting to a point where they were really good at it. They were very good. Nowadays, they're incredible at building straight sixes, but at this point, they were really damn good. The N54 is insane, incredible for building power. These motors can make 800 horsepower with nothing but full bolt-ons and a tune, and that is insane. The transmission will go, the rust will go before the motor's going to go, and that's incredible. Now, the drawback to the N54, they do have slight reliability issues. Unlike every other motor we've talked about so far, where they're mostly been pretty reliable, these are the first ones where, yes, there is a questionable aspect to it, but I think the pros of how much power this motor can build with such little money and such little parts thrown at it massively outweigh the fact that they have a reliability issue. And coming in at 8th place, I'm not a big supercar guy. Y'all know that, man. I'm really into the JDM. So I'm into the affordable stuff, because the affordable stuff are things that I can see myself buying one day. I can't really see myself buying a Porsche 911 one day. Even if I had the money, I don't think I'd want to buy a Porsche 911 one day. But there's no denying the fact that the Porsche Flat 6 is iconic. The Flat 6 thrown into pretty much every Porsche 911 since the dawn of time at this point is just, it's a staple. First of all, it sounds really good. I'll be the first to admit that. I've heard, oh man, for a 6-cylinder, Porsches sound like Ferraris. I don't know how they do it. I've never heard a 6-cylinder sound as good as a Porsche. They sound incredible. They're obviously really just they just like the 4G63 and the BMW straight sixes. Porsche has had so much time to perfect the Flat 6 that at this point it pretty much is. It's pretty much as perfect as you're going to get. Makes insane power, incredible red line, like everything about the motor is just And coming in at 7th place, I've gone on record stating that I think these motors are, or not these motors, but the cars that they're in are a little overrated, but the motor itself is still really good. The SR20 Det more specifically, obviously, but the SR20 was the motor that they threw into all the the Silvia S chassis. So the S13, S14, and S15 Silvias all got the SR20, and it's a Japanese straight Jesus Christ, I am stumbling on my words today. I am so sorry, guys. It's a Japanese 4-cylinder, inline 4. That's just like the 4G63, really. It's just good at building power while also being insanely reliable. I'm putting it higher than the 4G63 because of the reliability factor of it. The 4G63 is definitely better, I would say, for building power. It's a better motor for that. But the SR20 is a more reliable motor. So I think overall, the SR20 is an overall better package. On top of that, the SR20 was put into cars that are very, very, very lightweight with rear-wheel drive. So you don't need that much power anyways. It has a perfect, just that perfect amount of potential. And coming in at 6th place, yeah, you ain't making a list of the top 15 best engines ever created without mentioning at least a couple of American-made engines. The 426 Hemi. It's a Hemi, man. It's a Hemi. Do I got it? I mean, it's been in like every single Dodge muscle car ever created. And Dodge muscle cars are, in my opinion, some of the coolest muscle cars ever created as well. I do think that there are definitely some American-made motors out there that outperform a Hemi. And I mean, it's not even really like I think that. It's kind of just a fact. There are 100% some American motors that do. And so I'm not going to put it any higher than 6th place. But the 426 Hemi is just freaking iconic. And I don't think there will ever be a time in my life, or most likely even in your life, even if you're a younger guy, where we won't be seeing Hemis thrown into Dodges. At least I really hope not, because they're just like freaking iconic, man. I love them. They also sound so good. And coming in at 5th place, remember how we were talking earlier about how the BMW has had so much time to perfect the straight 6, and now at this point in the big 2.6, they pretty much have. Yeah, well, 5th place is the B58. The B58 is the N54 without any reliability issues. It actually is. Like, I know a lot of people in the car community don't like to praise BMWs right now, because BMWs are very popular cars and everyone just wants to be different. That's how it is in every community, man. Everyone just feels like they need to be different from each other. They don't want to be basic. And so everyone loves BMWs and everyone loves the B58. And everyone knows the B58 is an incredible motor. And so there are a lot of car guys out there that'll go on record and be like, hey, I think it's overrated. Let's swallow our pride for a second. No one knows who we are, all right? No, you guys see my face, but I don't see your face, okay? So your identity isn't at stake here. And let's be honest with ourselves. How in God's name is a straight 6 that can handle 800 horsepower on stock internals with nothing but full bolt-ons and a tune, and do it insanely reliably in a normal rear-wheel drive 6-speed manual sedan not cool to you? Like, how is that not a insanely cool motor? Like, I just don't get it. I understand if you think it's a little overrated and you don't want to be thrown into the BMW crowd. Honestly, I love BMWs. My next car is probably going to be an M4, and I agree, man. I don't want to be thrown into the BMW crowd either, but acting like the B58 is not one of the best motors ever created is just dumb. And here it is. Yeah, you probably should have known this was going to be on the list, because we were earlier when we were talking about the B series, I mentioned how I think the K series is just a better version of it. 4th place is the Honda K series. Yeah, the Honda K series, again, I have a B series. I have a B18, and I like my B18, man. It's a nice motor. It's very reliable. The car has some issues sometimes, but it's never because of the motor. It's other things around the motor. The motor's insanely reliable. Great motor. But the K series is just better. It handles power better. It's more reliable. It has more power out of the get-go. I don't think it's lighter. I do believe the B series is a lighter motor, so that's the only, I guess, downside, but it still is extremely light. It's still a 4-cylinder. There's a reason why they're still making K series, man. They've been making these things since the early 2000s, and they're not going to stop anytime soon, because they get the damn job done. Some of the fastest Hondas you see, which I'm sure we've all seen, insane all-wheel drive swapped Hondas, almost every single one of them have a K series under the hood, and there's a reason. People put K series in freaking everything nowadays. They're just great motors. Coming in at 3rd place is absolutely legendary. Obviously, it's coming in at 3rd place on my list. I think it's the 3rd best motor ever created, but I wish it was cheaper, because we don't see it that much. We don't see it built that much in a lot of builds. The RB26 Det. The RB26 Det, as far as I know, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty damn sure it was literally only put into the GTRs, the R32 GTR, R33 GTR, and R34 GTR. And so because of that, they're extremely rare motors, and nobody wants to take the RB26 Det out of their GTR either. So pretty much the only way you can get your hands on an RB26 Det is if a GTR crashed and they didn't want to rebuild it, which is very rare, and they sold the motor. That's the only way you could get your hands on it one. So you just don't see a lot of them put into builds, but they're obviously legendary motors, obviously insanely good. They handle power out the wazoo. They are reliable as absolute hell, and they are motorsport bred monsters, literally just built to go as fast as possible and do it as reliable as possible. You're buying a race car motor when you buy an RB26 Det. but that's why I think second place is slightly more legendary than the RB, the 2JZ GTE. Obviously, it is a big kerfuffle, a big argument in the car community on whether or not the RB26 or the 2JZ is a more legendary motor, is a better motor. I personally think the 2JZ is a better motor because you can, of the applications. You can put the 2JZ in a whole lot more things. It's a much more common motor to see being built than the RB26 that I think it made its mark better than the RB did. And on top of that, the 2JZ is also just insane. I mean, again, dude, this is a motor. I want to just put this out there. This is a motor that was built in the 90s that is still competing in drag racing today. That's insane. Like, there is only a very small amount of motors that can say that, and the 2JZ is one of them. And on top of all that, all the other motors that can say that are V8s. The 2JZ is a straight 6. That's this motor was, it's the second best motor ever created. Honorable mention, because this motor deserves to be first place, but you'll see why I didn't put it first place when we get to first place. The Chevy big and Chevy small blocks. These are, again, just like we were talking 2 seconds ago with the 2JZ GTE, this is a motor that you still see in modern drag racing that was built in the 60s. I think even in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, the Chevy small block, the Chevy big block motors are unbelievably unmatched. However, Chevy kind of just took the big blocks and took the small blocks and made it better over the years. So I'm putting it as an honorable mention because its first place is the LS. Obviously, the best motor ever created, in my opinion, and I feel like most car guys would agree, is the LS. You could be a Ford fan, you could be a Dodge fan, all you want, but swallow your pride, swallow the ego for 2 seconds, and at least admit that the LS is the most legendary motor ever created. LSs are, so LSs obviously can handle a ridiculous amount of power, which is good, but it's not super rare for an American V8. A lot of American V8s do like handling a lot of power. What makes the LS so gosh darn special is the fact that it does it insanely reliably. They're extremely cheap to buy because Chevy put the LS in everything back in the day, so you can find LSs anywhere. They're extremely cheap to build, and on top of all of that, they're small as hell for a V8. They're very tiny motors for a V8 that you could put in just about anything. You can literally LS swap a Miata, and it's not that crazy. Like, obviously, yeah, it's still a little crazy. You have an LS in a Miata, but it's not uncommon. Like, seeing an LS swap Miata or hearing about an LS swap Miata on the internet isn't that crazy of a thing to hear about anymore, and that's insane. LSs are, they're just the most legendary motor ever created. I think they just improved on the Chevy big and small block platform, and that's why I put the small block and big block as an honorable mention, but they do deserve to be up here as well with the LS. They're iconic. They will never not be legendary motors. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video, going over the top 15 best, most legendary, most iconic, whatever you want to call it, motors of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what reviews you'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my social medias or any of my other YouTube channels where you have that great Mumbo Jumbo. And thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. As you guys know, like I said in the intro, man, we haven't been uploading recently, or frequently recently is what I should have said. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is the other channels. I really have been trying to lock down on those other channels, lock in on those other channels, and get them to a point where they're sustainable. That's a horrible word to use. Good, at a good point, I guess. I don't know, you get what I'm trying to say. Get them to a point, not like this channel, because this channel has so many subscribers, 127,000. That's insane, so thank you guys so much, but at least get them to a established channel at this point, and they've been doing pretty good recently, so I really just wanted to put a little bit more time into those channels and get them started, kickstart them and everything like that. And obviously I don't have all the time in the world to do 3 uploads on every single channel every single day, so that's what I've been doing. But also just I've been like burnt out, man, on this channel. I don't know. I feel like it's just like at this point in my Mark Roden career and in this channel career, it's hard to find like new content to make videos on that I'm like excited to talk about, because I feel like I've done everything. I've been doing list style car videos for 5-6 years. Like how many more lists can I possibly make? Like I don't know. I just feel like every time I make another list, it's a broken record repeating myself over and over and over again. I love cars and I'll never not love cars, but at this point it's like, man, I don't want to talk about those cars every single day again. I already have, you know. So that's my thing. I've just kind of been getting burnt out on it a little bit. I'm really trying to get to a point where those channels are enough to fund this channel to become a vlog channel. That was my goal at the very beginning of this channel in the first place when I ever started YouTube. Is I wanted to do something like TJ Hunt or Adam LZ or Jimmy Oaks, and like vlog car builds and stuff like with my buddies. And obviously this channel kind of got into a point where it was just a list channel, but it always at the back of my mind has always been wanted to be a vlogging channel. And that's where I really want to go with this channel. It's just so much more fun and enjoyable for me, and I feel like it just is more personal and stuff like that. So I've been trying to get to that point, but it's obviously hard because of finances and stuff, obviously. But yeah, I guess just bear with me. I'm trying, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.